Hi everyone, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks. And firstly, Happy New Year to all of you. It's 2023, hard to believe with how quickly time feels like it's passing right now. But considering that 2022 was a bit of a lackluster year, shall we say, globally, I'm hoping that 2023, surely it can't get any worse, right? Yeah. Firstly, I want to say just a massive thank you to all of you. 2023 will be my 11th year of content creation. First uploading for the very first time on YouTube, I think early in 2012. Before then I started my Twitch channel in the middle of 2012, and then things just seem to have gone from there. I'm still loving what I'm doing. Some days more than others, I have to admit. I think everybody would feel the same about anything that they do in life. I still love this game with fierce passion, just as much as it definitely trolls me as well at some times. And so I want to start the video today by saying, firstly, a massive thank you to all of you once again for staying with me for all of this time. And I hope that the last 2 months of daily videos have been enjoyable. And while I'm going to be continuing uploading, as I have done for the last 11 years, I hope you understand that the daily videos will slow down as it's definitely an unsustainable thing to keep the quality as high as I do and to keep that enthusiasm. And I don't want it to be something where it's just I log on and have to do it, rather than something that, you know, I want to jump up and want to. So I hope you understand. But a massive thank you to all of you for all of the support of all of the videos as well. Liking the videos, disliking the videos, leaving a comment. I still try and read all of my comments, even though there's probably thousands, well, like about 1,000 of them daily, I'd say. I do flick through them. It's not like it'll take me a long time to be able to get through them all individually. But I really appreciate it, and thank you very much for caring about my content in any way. So, now that that is all said and done, I'd like to introduce you to our hero, and the first of the heroes of 2023. It is theKSA from the European server, who is playing a very controversial and infamous tank, at least towards the end of 2022. It is the BZ-176. This is the first of the rocket boost tanks. And unfortunately, the KSA didn't quite manage to get the ram off that I think he expected to against the Kranvang there. But still, I don't think the Kranvang really liked getting hit for 845, meaning that the KSA baited the Kranvang into just driving up over the slope. And what was possibly the most overpowered tank of 2022, the Kranvang, before it was nerfed, now gets beaten by the new flavor of the month, the rocket Chinese derpy tanks. Now, while this is the first of the derpy rocket tanks, literally with all 4 charges, the KSA has already burnt in this battle, allowing him to race into position. She is using a Bond turbo on this vehicle as well. Obviously really enjoys this tank and wants to be able to speed it up, which I can totally understand because it does feel a little slow. But it's not going to be the only rocket boost tank for long. And that is because Wargaming have confirmed that I believe it is probably not next week, but the subsequent week, that there is going to, when after the holiday ops ends, that the following Wednesday or Thursday there's going to be the new patch 9.19.1, I believe, and it's going to bring a whole new branch of Chinese rocket heavy tanks. Now, while the new rocket heavies aren't going to be able to do this, 807 damage to the side of the moisture, and that's because even the tier 10 vehicle, Wargaming removed all of the derps from the vehicles, and so they're only going to be able to do 650 damage to you, which for a tier 10 heavy tank it's not all that much, but they are going to be similar in playstyle, aka good gun depression, great frontal armor, which it does have fallibilities, and the rockets allow them to just take the early positions. Although, since I did my full tank preview of the BZ-75, Wargaming actually nerfed its top speed by 5 km an hour, so it's going to be as fast as the BZ-176. Although, instead of 4 rocket boosts, it's going to have 6, so it definitely will be more flexible to be able to use them later on in the battle. And I guess it's kind of funny that Wargaming have nerfed the tech tree version of this tank so much already, because I guess they just don't want this to become a thing at tier 10. But they're okay with it to be a thing at tier 8 because they've sold it now, and I don't think they'll nerf it. Although, you know what, Wargaming? If you actually nerf the BZ-176 because you feel it's too good, I would give you the biggest props imaginable, because this thing has been toxic. There have been something like 1.5 million games played in the BZ-176. since it's been released over the last 30 days. It was the second most popular tank on the European server in the last 2 months, which is ridiculous considering that it was only available for a month. And it's not like the super testers were spamming this vehicle feverishly. It's crazy to think that this vehicle was probably the most popular, and not just the most popular by at least half compared to the Charfuchia 4, which was the second most played tank at the end of 2022. And people are playing this because it's just so comfortable to play. Usually this tank in a bad matchup struggles because something like the Kranvang will not be stupid and be able to shoot it right through the lower plate, or they're going to try and flank it, get in the side. And well, the Kranvang can't overmatch because it only has 120 or 130. All 130mm caliber guns can be able to overmatch the top of this vehicle. But look, this thing hits hard. 800 damage on its premium Hesh rounds, of which the KSA has moved onto their 1 key. And also the armor piercing rounds hit hard as well. This tank is using a very high caliber gun. To be specific, it's 160mm. That means that this tank can overmatch all 53mm caliber plates, or plates that are 53mm thick in the game, of which there are a lot of plates. Take the top of the Super Conqueror, for example. I believe the top of a Super Conqueror is 50.8mm thick, which means that actually the Soviet 152mm caliber guns can't overmatch it because of that 0.6, meaning that, or I think it's 0.8, sorry, means that they won't be over 3 times as thick. They'll be exactly on the mark. However, this gun and all of the American 155s can actually overmatch the top of a Super Conqueror with armor-piercing rounds, which just means that this thing's just so powerful with the kind of ammunition that it has. And it's leading to some absolutely outrageous games in the BZ-176. I've seen 2,400 base experience games. I've seen 9,000 damage games in a tier 8. And that is just simply preposterous for a vehicle that is, to all intents and purposes, if this vehicle was at tier 9, I think it would still do well at tier 9. And the fact that it meets tier 6s and tier 7s, it is immensely oppressive inside a nice matchup. Which makes it all the more impressive that the KSA has actually done well in this tier 10 matchup. It's usually those tier 10 tanks that brush this thing aside. But ladies and gents, boys and girls, here it's about time to send in the clowns. The KSA is in a situation which doesn't really seem feasible for even a tier 10 overpowered tank, let alone a tier 8 one that's been reduced to a third of its starting hit points. The KSA has had a very respectable game. I'd be super happy with doing 5,500 combined at a tier 8 tank in against tier 10s. And he finds himself down 6,000 hit points compared to the enemy team, with the enemy having 4 extra vehicles. And it would be bad enough with them having 4 extra vehicles if there were actually 3 tanks on KSA's team, but unfortunately it's 2 tanks and a self-propelled gun support. And what use is a self-propelled gun support when you're outnumbered against high health opponents? Although maybe I'll come back to regret those words. Talk about arty, oh my lord, that T92 narrowly missing the KSA, who quickly uses their medkit, I guess, to be able to scurry away, get safe, and try and go after the FV405. And the KSA is very sneaky, and they're going to show me a new way to defend on the Sand River map, and that is to use this lovely hold down position over here. The FV405 just caught out the KSA, who is using vertical stabilizers on this tank, improves his gun performance with regards to the gun handling to a point where they're able to quickly adjust fire and lop around into the FV405 with some support from the Stridsvagn 103B, and that was about 2,000 of the 6,000 deficit gone instantly. And okay, here comes a T30 who actually manages to finish off the STRV 103B, now meaning the KSA is against 3 higher tier tanks, 1 equal tier tank, and 1 top tier self-propelled gun as well. But wow, look, the 261 actually making a big difference here, finishing off the CC67, and that forces the T30 to turn and be able to engage the 261 instead. So that means that now the KSA, who's in a 1 versus 4 scenario, will have the reload on the T30. Now, as long as they don't really low roll this Hesh shell, they should be able to. Oh no, oh god, oh well. Oh well, it's over. It's over. Look, there's no coming back from this with a 20-second reload against a T30, surely. 500 hit points just overmatched the top of the tank. What? Okay, so the T30 just crushed himself to death on the KSA. Okay, 1 clown in a ditch. And this Tortoise seems to really want to finish off the KSA. And wow. Talk about a beached whale, or in this case, a tortoise on its back. I don't even know what I am seeing right now. But yeah, I wasn't exaggerating when I came up with the title of this video today. Truly, send in the clowns. How ridiculous is this? Oh god, no, the tortoise is actually getting free. Uh-oh. Okay. Little bit nerves now. Little bit nerves. By the way, the KSA is also trying to do heavy tank 15 tempered steel. They need to do another like 2,800 here, including the hit points that they take or ricochet to be able to take this one down. That would be crazy. I just did this on my free-to-play account in a Type 5 Heavy with honors, and the KSA is almost doing it in a Tier 8 Premium. And oh dear. Tortoise, aka the Barbarian Gunner on the enemy team, looks like they've been enjoying themselves a little bit too much this holiday season, if you know what I mean, as they are beached on the T30 that also failed. And just come on, you couldn't honestly script this. All the T30 had to do was, you know, drive here and shoot. No, I'm gonna try and ram myself on a Chinese Tier 8 heavy tank that actually weighs 60 tons. And so the KSA now with 5 frags to their name, very much supported by the Stridsvagn 103B, whose name is Koala Storenfri, has done a fantastic job here, in conjunction with the artillery as well. And do you know what's really weird is those last 3 tanks, 2 tanks and a self-propelled gun, have actually managed to pick up all of the frags so far. Unfortunately, the KSA is still in a 1 versus 2 scenario, and their hit points are now down to a point where the artillery will be able to destroy them even with a splash, possibly a tank's length away from their vehicle. But it's not just the artillery that the KSA has to worry about in this scenario, they have to worry about the VK4502B. After watching the KSA's gameplay here, makes me wonder about whether I should try and use the turbo more on this vehicle, or maybe even it'd be worth possibly dropping the aiming device that I've been using for vert stabs, as the gun handling on this vehicle does feel really good. But what we're not seeing in this game here is when you want to be able to make those pixel snipes either at decent distances, or alternatively just managing to hit the weak points on vehicles to managing to penetrate those fairly low penetration premium rounds of 225. Now let me clarify, 225 is not bad at all for HE, and it's crazy that this vehicle does get just better penetration and better alpha damage on its premium rounds. It's a whole new level of pay to win coming in at the end of 2022. But I just feel that improving the vehicle's tragic .46 accuracy feels like it's got more value for me. But one thing that's really interesting here is that the KSA, even with a Bond turbo, still looks hella slow in this tank. And so it's something that I might consider incorporating into maybe a second build on this vehicle and trying out a little bit more. But I've been doing okay with using an aiming device with vents and also with gun rammer on this tank, and then dropping one of those modules out. Probably the aiming device to be able to use a turbo. This vehicle, it's getting this story of being completely outrageously OP, and we don't have time to talk about that right now because, oh dear, looks like the VK was AFK. Oh, well, you know, I guess that clown decided to be AFK. But the game isn't won yet. The KSA has to deal with just a T92. No big deal, right? And 1 minute and 30 seconds left on the game. Oh, close there. The artillery, however, with that shell also just gave away their position. The STRV-103B pings the location. The KSA actually fires a shell there. Luckily, their Sixth Sense doesn't go off, so they should be fairly okay in this scenario, but they're now caught reloading. But oh my word, Sixth Sense goes off, I would be panicky right now. But also, that's kind of a good sign, because it means that the KSA should be able to find the final vehicle. Now up to over 9,000 damage with 1,000 assistance. If the KSA has hit any blind shots, if they hit this one, they'll also be doing HT-15 with honors. With 55 seconds left on the game, all the KSA has to do is find this artillery and finish them off. They're using a high explosive round here, so the 800 alpha damage should be absolutely fine. And oh god, there's the T92, and yeah, I bet you didn't see that coming, ladies and gents, boys and girls. Send in the clowns, indeed. Unfortunately, the T92 ended up not clowning around and kind of making a little bit of an unexpected result here for the KSA in their BZ-176. And I'm sure that there's going to be so much controversy with people either liking or disliking this video. There'll be kind of like the artillery players out there who are like, yeah, kill the BZ-176. There'll be all of like the tier 6 and tier 7 players out there who have been absolutely smashed by BZ-176 players who are like, yes, glorious, BZ-176 defeated. And then there's going to be the players out there who were probably hoping that over 10,000 combined would have been enough to be able to take down this battle. And look, irrelevant of this vehicle being overpowered or not, that's beside the point. The KSA played a phenomenal round here, even with the paid clowns on the enemy team in the form of the Tortoise and the T-30. 9,000 damage is preposterous for a tier 8 vehicle, and it's why the tank is averaging a 53% win ratio over the last 60 days on the European server. And let me correct myself. I said it had like 1.7 million games. No, it's 5.7 million games. And some people feel so strongly about this tank that they think that that's 5.7 million games ruined. But what's interesting about this tank is that it's only doing just as well as a Skoda T56, actually doing slightly less damage, getting slightly less frags per game. But a lot of that will be down to new players playing it and not knowing how it performs. And so I do expect, as the casual players play this vehicle less over the upcoming months in 2023, that we're probably going to end up seeing the BZ-176's statistics improve still. So the KSA, my heart goes out to you for this heartbreak. Titling their What Replays upload as my biggest throw in 2022. The KSA, look, it would happen to the best of us. And really, with all of the pressure to be able to find the artillery at the end of the game, I'm not really feel that you did too much wrong. I think you just got a little unlucky. And sure, you could have played a little bit tighter and tried to find the shell over the ridgeline and not just drive up into the T92. But with all of the pressure on the situation and having to find that artillery, I can't really fault you too much. This was still a phenomenal game. Look at this, 1,601 base experience in a defeat. The KSA actually managed to get more experience than anyone else on the enemy team. Even this very impressive 7,000 combined game from an STA2, who got 1,522 base. If we include Courageous Resistance in this, this was actually a 2,450 base experience game, if that, and that's without that final shell entering the T92. The KSA smashes over 9,000 damage, picks up a top gun for their 6 kills. The STRV-103B on their team also did nearly 6,000 damage and picked up 6 kills. What a tremendous impact by those two players, and this was a beautiful game to watch if just from that perspective. And what's mental is this. The KSA made 160,000, of which they got 125 extra from the personal reserves. They got 75,000, I guess, from their clan payout. They got 165,000 as results of some kind of mission, and 7,000 extra for an achievement. Meaning that even though they spent 115,000 credits on ammunition and 20,000 credits on premium consumables, that they made 474,000 credits profit in this game. Is there any doubt as to why this vehicle has been played 5 million times on the European server in just a month alone? So the KSA, congratulations to you on this epic game, irrelevant of the mistake towards the end. And yeah, you're right, this might have been your biggest throw in 2022, but even this kind of result, some people would even question if it would even be considered a defeat. So congratulations to you on the mammoth game, and thank you so much for uploading it onto the What Replays website. It takes a lot of cojones to upload a replay even with a throw like that at the end and to title it like so. And I hope all of you out there enjoyed this first video of 2023 as well. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you hated it, give it a thumbs down. And if you're watching this video as it goes live on Sunday, I'm going to be doing the first Tech Tree Showcase of 2023, and all of you have voted for the CS63. So come along as I play the fastest medium tank in the game, along with all of the Polish mediums leading up to it, to start off 2023 with a bang. And as always, thank you so much for watching my content for so long, and thank you for watching this video as well. I really appreciate it, and as always, you've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.